Welcome back to the Michael Gay Show. I'm your host, Michael Gay, with my co-hosts, Janet Davis, Bernie B-Man Jones, Officer Crenshaw, and sometimes a host. He pops in. He's also a co-host of Kings in the Morning on the J. King Network, Monday through Fridays, Mr. Ali. Hey, I want to thank everyone for being here and joining us on the show. But guess what? Our guest has arrived. She's been on the show a few times, and she shares some very interesting information. And she is the one and only Pearl Jr., and we're going to introduce her because she's going to bring us more interesting information. You guys put your hands together for Pearl Jr. All right. Welcome back to the show, Pearl. How you doing?
I'm great. That is a wonderful welcome.
We always try to bring it the best way we can, but we're always happy to have you. You know, I get more people saying, when are you going to have Pearl back on the show? And so I'm like,
Yay.
Okay, let me get her back on the show. So I'm really happy that you are available to come and speak with us this Saturday. So let's get to the topic at hand here, okay? So there's this thing about Michael Jackson's kids. Let's go over that first, and then we'll go into the court thing, okay?
Okay.
Give us the rundown of Michael Jackson's kids. There's Paris, there's Prince, there's Blanket, and everything. Now we know that those are not his biological kids, correct?
Well,
but there are some people who are making claims.
Well, there's a lot of speculation about that, but most African Americans know they're not African American children, and Michael is an African American biologically. But the rumor is that the oldest son, whose name really isn't Prince, where Blanket, who now does not want to be called Blanket, he's too old to be called Blanket, and he's like almost 6 feet tall. He wants to go by the name of B.G., B-I-G-I. So if the rumor is the oldest child is supposed to be Dr. Arnold Klein's. The second child is supposed to be Mark Lester, who was Oliver, and he's British. And the third child is supposed to be Latino. And a guy named Matt Fiddles has claimed that he's possibly his father, which I don't believe, but maybe I don't know. But these are the rumors, and the rumors is that Debbie Rowe, which is a white female woman who is not a nurse, who everybody thought was a nurse, she was an assistant that had 6 months of EMT training, but she was an office clerk at Dr. Klein's office, that she went out and got the sperm. Now, when I heard her testify under oath, she said that she's the one that begged Michael to give him kids. And Michael resisted for 2 weeks. And Michael was in a weird place in his life. And she just kept on him. And he finally agreed. But I have to add this in. She also testified that when Michael had addiction issues, it wasn't because of Michael. It was because of Dr. Klein and another doctor named Dr. Hoffman, who competed for Michael Jackson's attention or their prestige, and they kept prescribing him more powerful drugs. And Debbie Rowe watched this happen and was the drug runner, the one that went to the pharmacy to pick up the drugs and bring them to Michael Jackson. So all three of them were, in my opinion, according to her testimony, were in cahoots, and they addicted Michael Jackson to very powerful painkillers because he had the reconstructive surgery on his scalp. Now, when I was in the courtroom and I heard her say this, I literally started crying, because how could someone think of a human being as so much property that they were willing to control him by addicting him to very, very, very powerful drugs? It's the cruelty of that is just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. And so I just want everybody to know that Debbie Rowe did testify under oath that it was her idea to give Michael Jackson children. And her idea is she's supposed to be the surrogate mother of Prince in Paris. And BG, her friend Mark Schaffel is the one that went to Argentina and brought back a kid, and that kid is supposed to be BG. That is the story. Is it true? I don't know I'm not there, but this is the stuff, because I go to the actual courtrooms and court cases to get the truth, because if people are going to talk, you are more likely to get the truth if they're under oath.
Under oath, right. Yeah, you don't want to tell a lie and be in contempt. Right,
exactly.
That's
or
true.
perjure yourself.
Perjure yourself.
Right, and that is what I've heard as far as the kind of gist of Paris, Prince, and BG. Now, Michael, of course, raised those children, so they are his children. He raised them, but there is other children that Michael is supposed to have that's rumored to have as well. And one of them is named Brand. There's 3 black sons that are unquestionably black, okay? One of them is Brandon Howard. Another one is Dante Williams Jackson, and another one called Prince Malachi Jackson. Now, these are the rumors that are out there. So now we know that there's 6 rumored children of Michael Jackson's. He only publicly claimed 3 of them, okay? The 3 boys that I just named, he never publicly claimed. Now, Brandon Howard has the strongest, in my opinion, of being Michael Jackson's biological child. And the reason why is because everything matches for him to be Michael's child, everything. He is African-American, that's one. Mickey Howard, who is an R&B singer, she was being managed by Joe Jackson during this time. She was also supposed to be living at Havenhurst when Randy, Janet, and Michael lived there. The other boys were grown, and Catherine, of course, were grown and out of the house and married. And Mickey and Michael are the same age. And me growing up in the era of the Jackson 5, Motown did an excellent job of us falling in love and thinking we were going to marry one of the Jacksons. Okay? Their image was for every black girl, because it was more segregated back then, to be in love with the Jacksons. And Berry Gordy even said in The American Dream that his own daughter, Hazel, fell for the imagery, right? Because she fell in love with Jermaine and married Jermaine and had several kids with Jermaine. But back to Brandon Howard. Brandon Howard didn't pop on the public scene until the 1-year anniversary of Michael Jackson's death announcement, which was June 2010, and I believe he was in another country. I think it was Japan. And we found out in retrospect, okay, after he was going somewhere, and somebody said, "Are you Michael's kid?" And it ended up on YouTube, and we're all like, whoa, Brandon looks like Michael, has the exact lips as Michael. He moves like Michael. He has the mannerisms of Michael. He sounds like Michael. He has that little voice like Michael has, and he's talented like Michael, and he has the body structure of Michael. So if you see, and he knows the Jackson family, and he grew up with the Jackson family. Now let's get back to conception, the conceiving. Okay, so other people have claimed, like there was this one girl that claimed she was Tito's child. She was not, because you got to go back to, how did your mama know him? Okay, if you don't have a mama that's connected to the Jacksons or to whoever you're claiming to be your father, then forget it. Another guy, Andre Van, claimed that Jermaine was his father, but his mother was never a part of. Where did your mother have access to Jermaine? That never came up. So those are completely false. Now, when you go back, you can hear rumor that Mickey was in Joe's manager, right? But you go back because the public dad of Brandon Howard, his name is Augie Johnson. He was in this group called Side Effect. So when you go back and you look at Michael Jackson.
Yeah, he passed away. Yeah, Augie passed.
He just passed away. away.
Yeah.
Augie just passed away. But if you go back, you will find that Augie Johnson is listed as a backup singer on Michael's Off the Wall album. Okay, so we're talking about 78, 79. Okay, then you go and you look at Mickey Howard. She joined Side Effect, the group, in 1980-81, right? Okay, so you got access, you got physical proof of this. Then you go ahead, Brandon was born April 2nd, 1981, which means he was conceived in 1980. So you can place Mickey, Augie Johnson, Michael, all of them in the same place during the time that Brandon was conceived, okay? Then you have Marlon Jackson, who was a year and a half older than Michael, just a year and a half older than Michael. He was born with a twin. He had Marlon's twin died at 1 day old, and his name was Brandon, okay? So Michael could honor his son, Michael's brother, by naming his son Brandon. Okay, it gets even better. Billie Jean, the song Billie Jean. The reason, and Quincy Jones, he says that he begged Michael not to name the song Billie Jean because of Billie Jean King, the tennis person, right, at that time. But Michael would not change his mind from naming that song Billie Jean. And when you look at Mickey Howard, she was in love with Billie Holiday. She was a Billie Holiday fan, okay? So we got the Billie Jean, Billie Holiday. Then you have the same timing of when Billie Jean was being written and Brandon was being born, okay? You got the same. And Brandon is a son, just like the song Billie Jean. And then it's all about, no, it's not my kid, it's not my kid, until he sings that the child had eyes just like mine. Oh, no. Okay? Now, this has come out and been popular. Brandon, I've interviewed Brandon myself. I've talked to Brandon. I know Brandon. You know, Brandon's sweet, nice, kind, like the Jacksons. You know what I mean? He's just like them. Brandon has told me that he grew up weekends and holidays with the Jacksons, okay, weekends and holidays with the Jacksons. And Mickey Howard has said that she signed a non-disclosure agreement, okay? Now, why would she sign a non-disclosure agreement, okay? And then I think it was TV One, they did a Mickey Howard biopic, and they talked about her whole life, but they never mentioned her relationship with the Jacksons, which screamed to me that there's a cover-up going on. Mickey Howard has also, years later, did a duet with Jermaine. Okay, so we have, and Mickey has been in interviews and said that they've known her for a long time. Brandon was on the set of the Remember the Time video, okay? And people said, well, Michael loved kids. And then I'm going to shut up and take a question. Michael loved children. Michael loved children. Why would he deny his first child? Well, you have to remember, Brandon was born right when Michael was getting ready to hit the precipice of his biggest achievement in life, okay? This is between Off the Wall and Thriller. Also on Thriller is also you want to be starting something, and Mickey was a starving artist, and it says if you can't feed the baby, don't have the baby. So why is Michael obsessed with not wanting babies? You know what I'm saying, during that time. So Michael was not ready to be a father because Michael felt like his brothers had abandoned their fans or hurt their fans when they went off and got married. Michael wanted to keep the illusion and the fantasy alive that he was a bachelor and that he was available at that time. So we have all that timing, and then I'll be quiet for a minute because I got more, but I'll talk about the other couple of kids if you guys have some questions for me.
Oh, no, great. But this is great. But because it's interesting how you put that all out there. And things, as Arsenio Hall used to say, So let me go ahead and get a few questions going because I'm thinking of a few myself, and I'm going to hold on to mine. I'm going to go to one of your biggest fans, Janet Davis. What question you have for our guest? Pearl Jr.
Well, I was waiting for you, Pearl, to finish talking about all if there's other children, because I think it's Omar Batty or something.
Yeah, he's definitely 100% not his child. And you're right, that is the seventh rumor. You're right, he is not. They met when he was 12. Omar Batty is Norwegian. His mother and father worked for Michael Jackson. His father is like he's maybe Bangladeshi or Indian from India or Pakistan because he looks that way, because recently he posted a picture of his real father. Omar Batty is 100% not Michael Jackson's child.
Well, okay.
So you're right, it is 7. My bad.
That's a lot.
All right, so let me go to.
Oh, my bad.
Okay, who is this?
This is hold on.
Okay, hold on. Ali. Go ahead, Ali.
I want to ask you, Pearl. Hello, Pearl. You know, you've talked to me several times. You know, I've been listening to you for about a year. I mean, almost a year now. I wouldn't say a year, but almost, because I heard you on several shows. I just want to ask you, Pearl, are you Michael Jackson's child?
That's impossible, because Michael is only 1,711 days older than me, so he would be 4.5 years old. So that's physically impossible.
Yeah, when she breaks it down to days, that should have answered your question like, pow! Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so
I didn't mean biological like the kids he got already. You know, I thought you was, you know.
All right, so let's move on. Okay. My other co-host, Bernie B-Man Jones, you got a question for Pearl?
You know what? I just, every time she comes on, and I just like listening, because every time she says something so fascinating that, you know, I'm just in awe. I just want to listen and everything like that. And I remember the last time she was on, I couldn't get Mama's Pearl out of my head, and I just listened to that song. That's one of my favorite songs now. That's one of my favorites. Well, you know, I love that song by the Jackson 5. I just love that song. But yeah,
it's stuck in your head, huh?
Yes.
There's a big Death Hoax clue for that song too. Okay, big huge Death Hoax clue for that in my Alive trilogy. But go ahead. Well, if I can interject, before Mama's Pearl, Mama's Pearl was not the original name of the song. The original name of the song was Guess Who's Making Whoopee with Your Girlfriend, okay? And the Jacksons have an unreleased album that came out after Michael was announced dead in 2013, and the name of the album is called A Rare Pearl, and that's based on a cartoon that was released January 15th, 1972, of their Jackson 5 cartoon called A Rare Pearl. And the person who I believe is Michael to this day, and you have to watch Alive 3, Michael Jackson, The Living Dead, to find out that he called me for the first time on that same day, January 15th, and then a year later, the cartoon series that included A Rare Pearl, that was released on January 15th, 2014, and the person that I believe is Michael Jackson also put a Death Hoax clue in the Rare Pearl album that told me, make sure you get the album before it even came out, and then he put the name Tupac in the album, so that because Tupac is thought to have faked his death, so it was kind of a little wink, nod, but it's a cute little story.
Wow.
Okay.
Let me go over to Officer Crenshaw. I'm sure you got a question or comment.
I just like hearing her voice. I mean, she's definitely a woman that knows what she's talking about, in control, a woman that every man needs. You'll break us down quick. I mean, real quick, and keep us in line. You can't get nothing past her. We can actually put her up on T-Rump so she can break all his lies All his stories.
So she could bring him down. Okay. Now, quickly, I want to say this. Okay, but I want to say that Pearl, you are in a relationship, right? So let me get that out there. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you guys, don't try. Give it up. She's in a relationship. Okay. I had to put that out there.
Look, she's in a relationship with Michael, man. That's how she know he alive.
Yeah, okay. All right, so this court case that's going on with the Jackson.
I didn't talk about the other two children. Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Let's finish that up. Yeah, let's finish that before we jump. I'm sorry. I'm jumping.
Jackson. There's another kid named Dante Williams Jackson that Joe just dropped in the family, okay? Just dropped off in the family. And I know the person that Joe said, here, take this. When Joe didn't live with Catherine. Joe lived in Las Vegas, and Catherine still lived at the Havenhurst Mansion. And the person that drove the baby to Catherine's house, I know that person and got that story firsthand. And she told me that she didn't know where the child had come from. And I know that Catherine wouldn't take care of one of Joe's offspring without him being there. There's just no way, because Joe had another child named Giovanni Jackson, who I have met and talked to as well. And she was not allowed in the house at all. She has a book, I think, called Bastard Child or something, where she talks about how hard it was for her to have this famous family and never be able to see them or talk to them or anything. And I attended, I was honored to attend and be invited to Joe Jackson's memorial with the entire family there, except for Paris and Jermaine weren't there, but the rest of them were there. And she was there, and she was very welcomed. Her and Rebbie are very tight. Catherine didn't seem to have any problems anymore. You know what I mean? Because, water under the bridge is 40 years ago, But anyway, and she was born the day after Michael's birthday. I think her birthday is August 30th when Michael's is August 29th. But anyway, so with Dante Williams Jackson, Jermaine had a wife. Jermaine and Randy have kids by the same woman, okay? Her name is Alejandra. And she lived at the Havenhurst Mansion for 20 years. And she took on Dante as her child, okay? And so Dante calls her mother, okay, and considers her children his brothers and sisters. And it's impossible that she is the mother, because she couldn't be pregnant with Randy Jr. and then 7 months later give birth to Dante. You see what I mean? It overlaps. So she's not his biological mother. Now, another close family friend named Brenda Ritchie, she had tweeted that she didn't know anything. She tweeted that Michael was in love and almost married a black woman in 1991, okay, in the early 90s. Well, that's when Dante was born. Okay, so I just put those two together. Brenda Ritchie did not put those two together. I did. Okay, I put
well, when
those
you say
together.
Brenda Ritchie, that's no relationship to Lionel, is it?
Yes,
that's Lionel Richie's
right. The one. Right. That's what I thought. Yeah, because they had issues.
Right. They had big issues. Okay. And so I put those together from her tweet, which that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to just get information that's not related, to where no one has any bias and nobody has any whatever, and just kind of put together information myself. Are those two connected? I don't know, but I'm really suspicious because the dates match. And who is Dante's parents, and why did Joe bring him into the family like that, right? And then Alejandra got to live at Havenhurst, which Michael and Latoya owned that property, free all these years. She got to live free there, okay? So I'm just speculating that perhaps Dante is the product of that woman and Michael, being in love, and he almost married her. They were engaged, according to Brenda Ritchie's tweet, which I do have, okay? So did they have a child, and was that Michael's secret child? I don't know, but I'm suspicious about it, okay?
Right.
Then the third child, the other boy, Malachi Jackson rumor, that was from a guy named Ron Newt. Ron Newt is his sons were going to be on the Jackson's label years ago, decades ago. And he called me soon after Michael was announced dead, and he told me that with his sons that these tabloids tried to pay him $200,000 to lie and say Michael molested his children. This guy is a black dude. He's like a gangster.
Wait a minute. Ron Newt. Hold on just a second. Hold on a minute. Ali, doesn't that name sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the one. He just died. That's the one that gave me $500 when my mama died in 2015. That's Jay King's friend.
That's Jay. Yeah, Jay. No, he's been on Jay King's show, right? And didn't he write a book? Or
Empire.
Right.
He said they stole Empire from him.
Stole Empire from him. Right. Yeah. We know about Ron Newt. But go ahead. I'm sorry, but I thought about that. Mhm.
Yep. So Ron Newt called me sometime in 2009, and he was telling me about the story about the $200,000, how Michael never molested his sons, and he ain't gonna lie on Michael or his sons for nobody. Okay. And then he told me that Michael was in love with this other woman. Her name was Erdeline or some name, and that they had a child. Okay. No, not the DeBarges. No, not the DeBarges.
Okay.
Not the DeBarges. Okay, no. Her name is Earl.
Okay, Michael.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to look it up while I continue to tell this story. Okay. So anyway, it was the name of this. He said that and I passed on this story, but he gave me the first exclusive rights to this story that Michael had another child. And the child's name was Prince Michael Malachi Jet Jackson, right? And I kind of thought it was kind of suspicious because there was an impersonator named Jason Malachi that was performing at the Jet nightclub in like Caesar's Palace or something in Las Vegas. And I was like, whoa, this is too much for me. So at the time, I really didn't get how Michael liked to match names and everything. But this kid was supposed to be his Michael's child that Ron Newt said. But in the articles that I had read, hold on, I can get her name in just a second. Her name, they said that they requested a DNA test to prove that it was Michael's son, but it wasn't. But I don't know if that's true or not. And the reason why I'm not sure it's true is because when Michael was acquitted in 2005, and during the trial, Michael's lawyers were working at getting everything sealed, okay? Everything sealed, and it was a big old deal, right? So when somebody is acquitted, and I put this in my Alive trilogy, the code, the law, and the code, they have to get rid of your fingerprints, your DNA, they have to get rid of your mugshot. When you are acquitted, they have to wipe your record clean. So I'm not sure that Michael's DNA is anywhere for anybody to get tested because Brandon Howard tried to get it tested from some kind of dental work that Michael had, but it ended up being inconclusive. And then Jermaine was up at this guy, his name, oh my goodness, Mr. David. He owns a television network. And they were supposed to do a DNA test or something, and nothing came out of that either. So I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? If Michael's DNA is anywhere around, you follow me? Because they wanted to seal it from the 2005 trial. So I will continue to look up that name. I'm sorry. To find out that woman's name that Ron Newt said that Michael had another child by.
Yeah, I know that name, Ron Newt, as Ali confirmed. Yeah, he's been on Jay King's show a few times, and wow, we had some laughs about that too on the show. So now let me ask you this: there was something that you said, and I want to ask about that when you were saying about two of the Jacksons having a child by the same woman, correct?
Yes.
Which ones were it again?
It's Jermaine and Randy. And that's a
fact.
FACT fact. It is a fact. It's not a rumor. It's a fact.
Okay, so who was the father? Who was the father first of her child? Was it Jermaine or was it Randy?
Randy.
So Jermaine came behind and impregnated her.
Came behind Randy. Yes, he did, because they were all living in the house, and Jermaine was there at that time. And hey, you know what I'm saying? It was one of those things. Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. Now you're aware that the alleged Jackson kids. No, go ahead.
The child is Randy Jr. and Genevieve, and then there's Jafar and Your Majesty by Jermaine with the same woman, and then there's Dante.
Right.
Wow. Well, I guess famous families do have their issues. And their,
yes. Okay. The name of the TV company was called Film On. Film On TV. Okay, and his name is Alki David. Just to kind of fill that in, because while I'm talking to you guys, I'm Googling, looking for that woman's name.
Wasn't it that Randy wasn't just taking care of his responsibility, and that's how Jermaine was able to step in and take over?
Well, they had split up. They had a very tumultuous relationship, and they had split up. And then Jermaine was, had to go home and live with Mama, at a certain time in his life. And that's when Alejandra was there. And then they started creeping in each other's rooms, and boom, they had their children. I'm not sure if she married both of them. I think she married Jermaine. I'm not sure if she married Randy, but she could have married both of them. I'm not sure.
Well, you know what my question? My question is did Janet and James DeBarge have a child? If you know anything about that. Okay, that's another one.
That's another thing. Okay. The rumor is that she's Brandy Jackson, Jackie Jackson's daughter. That's the rumor. Is it true? I don't know, but that's the rumor that's out there. And and my friend who worked at Motown during the time that Janet was pregnant, she swears to God to me that Janet was pregnant during that time. And there's always, even the DeBarges believe that Janet had a child by James. Okay? Now, the age of Brandy doesn't really match, but, should they be lying about her age? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Yeah. But, the Jacksons aren't going to just, Joe did not believe in abortion. Joe did not believe in abortion, period. And so he would just figure it out some kind of way, that they would take care of the child.
I think it was said that Rebbie was raising her. It was a girl. And
Rebbie's daughters are dark-skinned to where, the DeBarges are biracial. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And there is Yoshi and Stacy. They're by the same father, and then there's Austin by the same dad. So no, I know, but that is. I think that was probably a diversion article that was to take you off, because they're good at putting counter intelligence. Like when you're supposed to be looking here, they'll steer you to look somewhere else.
Well, let me say this because I lived down the street from Rebbie Jackson in Agora Hills back in 1994 and all the way into 96. And I met her because she would go shopping late at night when nobody was really in the stores. And when I went to the store, she drove a black Mercedes 4-door. And I saw all the kids. And I did see a light-skinned kid with her along with the other kids that looked like her. It was another kid with her, a girl that was with her at the store that night because they was all, matter of fact, she left most of them in the car with an older child who stayed in the car with most of the kids, and she went in. I ran across Rebbie 3 times in that area. So there's possible there's possible that there is another kid whose kid it is. I don't know, but I did see another kid with her that was light skinned.
Okay, so let's
it could have been Brandy.
So let's move,
it could have been Brandy
to
hanging around with her auntie. Huh?
Okay, so we're down, but I'm saying that we're down to 10 minutes of the show, so I really want you to share with us.
And her name is Zerlene Lavette Dixon. Okay, and apparently that the reports is that her DNA didn't match, or the DNA didn't match. But where'd they get Michael's DNA from? You know what I mean? You know,
right.
So yeah, so it is what it is.
Okay, so tell us about the court case that's going on. We only got 10 minutes. I want you to chime in on that. What's happening here with the estate case?
Okay, there's several cases that are still going on that aren't judged. 2.5 years ago, over 2 years ago, was the Michael Jackson estate versus the IRS case, which is a death tax case, which means how much was Michael worth on June 25th, 2009. And the IRS believes that he was worth almost $500 million, and because the taxes that they filled out didn't represent $500 million, didn't represent Michael's true value, then they put on penalties and interest at another $200 million. So they're fighting a $702 million lawsuit in which the judge heard the case 2 years ago, no judgment rendered. Then there's another case. There's the Michael Jackson estate versus HBO, which is a non-disparagement breach of contract agreement that's in regards to the slander, child porno, fabricated lie movie film called Leaving Neverland. And with that, in 1992, Michael Jackson signed an agreement to allow HBO to air his concert live in Bucharest. Well, in that agreement was the attached non-disparagement agreement that's perpetual. And the word perpetual is in there, which means that HBO, all your affiliates from now and forever, make an agreement with TTC Touring, which is now Optimum Productions, saying that you will never, ever participate in any disparaging of Michael Jackson. And it's clear as day. And HBO told the estate to pound sand. So there's an arbitration hearing scheduled for May 23rd. The third case, which I am involved with right now, and there might be lingering other few cases, but these are the 3 big ones. The next case, and then there's still the appeals of James Safechuck's case and Wade Robeson's case. Those are still on appeal. Mm-hmm. But the case that I am attending at this time is the Tome versus the Michael Jackson estate, which is a commissions type of a lawsuit. Tome was Michael Jackson's manager from 2008 to May 5th, 2009, because I have the letter where Michael terminated their agreement. Well, from 2008 to May of 2009, lots of things happened. And the sale of Neverland, in which Tome was an agent, worked for Colony Capital, which is Tom Barak's company, which is Donald Trump's boy, okay? They made an agreement for taking over the Fortress mortgage from Neverland. And so he wants 10% of that, and then they're arguing over was Michael's personal property involved in that case. They're also arguing over the This Is It, the proceeds of This Is It, because that agreement had started before Tome was Michael's manager, but it ended, but it happened during Tome's, it got commenced, it got started, commenced during while Tommy was a manager, so he wants 10% of that. And also there were the Cirque du Soleil shows that were in the works before Michael Jackson, his death announcement. Now, anybody who doesn't believe me that Michael Jackson faked his death, you just have no idea that absolutely zero proves that he is dead. Nothing checks out. It's all smoke and mirrors. Even just to start you off, if you listen to the Conrad Murray verdict, it says alleged victim, calls Michael Jackson an alleged victim who died on an alleged date. And then I served the L.A. District Attorney. There's a whole bunch more stuff, but I served the L.A. District Attorney with the Freedom of Information Act, asking them who wrote those words alleged, which means they're not sure if that was Michael's body and they're not sure when that dead body died, okay? Who wrote those words, and I asked them, can you confirm that that dead body is Michael's? After them giving me the runaround for months, after them saying they're going to open up an investigation of it, after them ignoring me, they finally sent me a response, and the response is, we're not answering your question, okay? So if that doesn't tell you enough to look into that Michael Jackson faked his death, I mean, that's as clear can be that something is suspicious. Plus, I did a whole documentary on it. It's called The Alive Trilogy of Michael Jackson Docs. It's 254 minutes, which is over 4 hours of information. And I'm telling you, it is jam-packed with, oh, my God, wow, I can't believe it. The 911 call never mentioned his name. He was never admitted into UCLA under the name of Michael Jackson. Soleil Sean and Trauma Gershwin. Jermaine Jackson, his brother, announced him dead while wearing a shirt that said "Living as King" on back, and Michael's the King of Pop. And he used the word King of Pop. Then you go to Forest Lawn, no name on the grave. Forest Lawn has told me and many fans we don't have Michael's body, and we've never had it, okay? Michael's not listed in their database. Then you go to the coroner's office, who I also served a Freedom of Information request to, saying all the death documents are in the wrong name of Michael Joseph Jackson. So who is Michael Joseph Jackson? You said you identified the body, not through a family member, but through a driver's license. You named and identified it through a driver's license. So where is that driver's license, the copy of that driver's license? He sends me a letter back, the coroner, saying, I send all the driver's license back to the Sacramento Department of Motor Vehicles. Okay. So I sent a Freedom of Information Act to the Department of Motor Vehicles, and they tell me there has never been a driver's license in the name of Michael Joseph Jackson, okay? And the Department of Public Health, they require that all death documents are in the true legal name, and Michael's true legal name is Michael Joe Jackson. It is not Michael Joseph Jackson.
Wow. Interesting.
And there's a lot more. And there's a lot.
You know what? And I know there is a lot more. And we always got to bring you back to fill us in as you keep following up on this on these recent cases. But we're running out of time. An hour just isn't enough because there's so much information to share. Real quick, Pearl, do us a favor. Share your contact information. And also, you're on YouTube, you're on Facebook, and all your social media information, so everybody could keep following.
Thank you so much for having me as a guest, Michael and Janet and everyone else. The easiest way to follow me is go on my website, michaeljacksoninsider.com, and all the links to my projects, my short films, the book I wrote on Michael, the Alive Trilogy of Michael Jackson documentaries, and my YouTube channel link is there. My YouTube channel has well over 6.4 million views on it, okay?
That's right.
And Michael Jackson's fans are the smartest fans in the world. If I make one mistake, if I say that something isn't true, they are quick to correct me. So I know that me telling the truth, and there's other things that are out there that aren't true, you got naysayers, and that happens. It comes with the territory. But I am a woman who stands by my words, and everything I say, I can show you something to back it up.
That's right.
All right. All right, you guys. Hey, we got to get out of here. We are at the top of the hour. Want to thank you, Pearl, very much. Hey, you guys, I don't have the applause up. I got the closing track up. But y'all just go ahead from where you are, give a hand to Pearl Jr. and thank her for being on the show this evening. We want to thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Hey, you got to come back. All right?
Okay.
We definitely do appreciate it. And normally I usually go around the board and get everybody to share their information real quick. Janet, make it quick, everybody. Janet, go ahead.
Well, you can always reach me on the Michael Gay Show every Saturday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. Bernie, B-Man Jones, your information?
The Michael Gay Show and Twitter, Bernie W. Jones.
And Ali, your contact information.
Ali on Facebook, God Rapman on Twitter, and you can find me right here on the Michael Gay Show and the J. King Network all the time, Monday through Sunday.
Okay, and yeah, you're on Kings in the Morning, correct. All right, you guys, hey, we got to run. I appreciate each and every one of you. Officer Crenshaw, he had to step away. Yeah, he had to step away. He texted me and let me know. So want to thank Officer Crenshaw for chiming in, and everybody who's sitting here in the background listening to the show. I see you, 404, okay, and all the other area codes, another 404. Wow. Okay. But, hey, you guys, next time, make sure you hit the number 1 if you have a question or comment for our guest. You've been listening to The Michael Gay Show here on the J. King Network. Want to thank our special guest, Pearl Jr., for chiming in, and we're going to bring her back every chance we get. You ask for her, we bring her to you. All right, you guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. God bless, and we'll talk to you next Saturday right here, same bat time, same bat channel on The Michael Gay Show. Have a good evening and the rest of your weekend. Good night. God bless.